Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Living on Blockchain. Today we are speaking to Avidan. Avidan is the project director at Data Ownership Protocol. It's an Ethereum-based privacy protocol that's redefining how data is handled in a decentralized system. Avidan shares insights from his journey across MedTech, AI, Kaspa, and now leading in privacy innovation at DOP. We deep dive into the concept of selective transparency, the friction traditional companies face in adopting blockchain, and how partnerships with zkMe and Chainalysis are helping them bridge the trust gap. We are also joined briefly by Ziv. He's the head of marketing at DOP, who shared the broader vision for how DOP is communicating and positioning blockchain privacy in the time of AI regulation, data sovereignty, and enterprise hesitancy. So it was a very, very interesting conversation, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this. Let's deep dive right in. Hi, Avidan. Thank you so much for making the time to speak to me today. How are you doing?
Hi, hello. Nice to meet you also. Thank you for inviting us to talk with you today.
I'm glad that we could both make the time to speak to each other. So, for our listeners, can you tell us a little about yourself and your journey so far into Web3?
Yeah, for the first time I've done a project director at DOC. I started my journey in the crypto field, I think, 4 years ago, with some little project as a trader, as a researcher in the technology side. Then I moved to, or started with Kaspa, their journey, us, BD and marketing. When the community was very small, we helped to make it big and in a natural way. We push all the strategy ideas that we thought that will be great to do with. And then I became an advisor to few small projects that also started their journey. And after a few years, I got to DOP to help them manage the development process and the BD side, of course.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I was asking you a question. So I said that, okay, this is wonderful that, your journey has actually spanned across AI, MedTech, and blockchain. What kind of has led you to focus on data privacy in Web3? And before you answer that, perhaps let's take a step back and you can tell me a little about what the OP protocol does and set a little context for our listeners.
Mhm. So we have a little problem in Web2, in Web3, when we compare it to Web2, is that every transaction of a wallet or asset that is holding can be shown on the explorer. It's mean you are being noticed or detected by people that we don't want to. And when we're talking about Web3, is a decentralized world that I can do or own whatever I want without anyone to disturb my let's say privacy field or my privacy wallet, my privacy assets, and all the protocol and project that was from before to help the privacy did it in a manner that was being called bad or bad plans for the industry. And we wanted to invent a protocol that helps people play with their privacy, the usability that they can show and hide part of the information, but still work and play with all the crypto field in a way that it will be good for everyone and not called as a mixer or something like that. I think privacy is something important for this field, for all the crypto fields. If we want to bring more visitors and traders and holders and big companies to use the crypto or blockchain technology, we need to show them how it works exactly like in the traditional economy. So this is why we try to do the ability to select what information you choose to hide and to keep to yourself and what you want to show for everyone so they will know what you hold and how much. Okay, I understand that, why this seems like a natural niche where you would perhaps move to and where you would want to focus on. Can you tell me the USP for a DOP? Because I think a lot of the listeners would be wondering that, okay, there are already a lot of privacy focused protocols there in the market, and there are also platforms that help with creating a pseudonymous, a safe environment for these transactions to happen, perhaps. What is your USP? How do you stand apart? So we have three pillars that we're focused on. The first one is compliance layer that will build to make sure that players are not entering in our protocol and not coloring the fund that are inside of it. We're working with Chainalysis for the off-chain information and detection of bad players, and Exagate in the on-chain detection is being made in live. That's mean if you are a bad player that just hacked another protocol, you will not be entering in DLP. And I think it will help people and big players to enter the funds in the protocol so they know it will not be colored and will not be detected as something bad. The second one is the usability. We tried to change the protocol and make it more simplicity and usability for the users. So it will be very easy in 2 clicks to encrypt funds and use them in the privacy way. Most of them made it to happen in our next version. And the third one is the selective transparency. What we're trying to say in the selective transparency is that you got some projects that are doing 100% transparency and in the other side 100% privacy. We wanted to give to the users the ability to choose how they select to use their data on chain. And this is what selective transparency is doing. It can allow you to hide or expose your assets, holding, and NFTs through the protocol. And those 3 points are mean being a game changer in this industry, aside other protocols that are focused on privacy and trying to give privacy to the users.
Okay, so I think you've done a good job of explaining how the data ownership protocol is different as against the other privacy-focused approach. Can you tell us a little about the team, Avidan, behind this particular protocol?
About the what? Sorry, did you hear the question well?
Not a problem. About the team behind the protocol. Who are the team members that you have building this protocol along with you? Or can you describe
So
them? Can you talk a little about the team?
the team, yeah. So we have a large team. Our development team are separated between Pakistan, USA, and Israel. We have marketing team that's based in Dubai. We have a big community in Turkey and Japan that's helping us also to bring the strategy of the marketing through Dubai and execute it. And the management of their operation are sitting in Israel. That I think almost all the team. The team is about I think 25% is what works in the daily for DOT without all the outsourcing that we're using almost every day. That's helping us with the PR, with the strategy design, etc.
All right, thank you for sharing that. So, can you tell us a little about what is the next big milestone in the DOP journey and something that you're looking forward to?
So our next phase for DOP is launching the next version of the DOP and we're going to launch the ecosystem that we're starting to build. In fact, our vision for 2025 is to build a big ecosystem that's using the apps that want to be in a private way. So we built with the community, with the other companies, and alone key products that will help elaborate and extend the volume in the protocol. And all of it already done and ready for production and to be launched next month. All the product and the new version together.
All right. And does this include, you mentioned about what is coming next, but can you tell us a little about the kind of partnerships that you've built so?
Yeah, so far we have 2 partnerships that we're secure about them, that they are wallet providers. We try to partnership about integration of the protocol itself. I want to say that we have, for the moment, all touched on the blockchain to do the integration and it will be extended to other royalties. And we have talks and discussion with few companies to bring them to use the protocol for payments or NFTs as RWA. Since we think that using RWA through our platform and our NFT marketplace will help to make it more strong the privacy and security people have in the RWA they are using and buying. And I think that's enough for the moment, but we will and like about all of it once it's signed and got agreed with other parties.
Okay. Avidan, I think your voice is getting garbled again. I didn't want to interrupt you while you were answering. Is there something that you can do with your network or the perhaps the mic that you're using?
Well, we have a large network since the launch of the opening was very famous, but we're now collecting other partners to do it, and we're extending the network we have to bring the ability to use the protocol from other partners that we didn't know before. And also, with the time, we made some vision to use the protocol with another ecosystem that make us research other parties and partners to use it and do the partnership.
No, I understand what you're saying. You don't have to repeat yourself. I meant, is there anything that you can do so that the other questions and the answers can be a little better? Can you change your network or do you want to change your mic?
Oh,
Your voice is very garbled.
for the moment, now if you hear me well.
This is so much better. Yes, this is so much better.
Ah,
Because
okay.
it was like I could hear you through a tunnel. So by the time I could actually hear what you're saying, I couldn't understand the words. Okay. Thank you so much. Whatever you've done, that has helped. So I'll move on to the next question. DOP score value is selective transparency, like you've mentioned. Can you explain how this works and why this matters today in today's Web3 ecosystem? You've kind of answered this a
Yeah,
little bit
so
already when you talked a little about the
selective
USP.
transparency is a feature that built in the protocol that help you disclose or hide the assets or the NFT that you have. It's very easy to be made in two clicks. One, that you choose which assets and how much, and then you are clicking proof. During the proof, what will cost.
Okay, your voice is again coming from very far off now. I can't hear you again. Ziv, am I the only one who's facing this? Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear Annie. I don't know.
You're able to hear him, okay?
I don't know. Avidan, can you speak for a second? I don't know. I think at this point, so now I cannot hear him. Maybe he's on mute or something.
He's not on mute. He's but I
Yeah, no, I
you
mean from his speaker.
yeah,
Like,
maybe there is some issue. Yeah, maybe there's some issue.
maybe it's
He was answering and I could hear him, and then the voice started tapering off. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's a network issue. Let's wait.
yeah, it's probably a network issue because it says that he cannot hear you now as well. So I'll ask him to just rejoin the conversation.
Okay, he's dropped off. Let's wait for him to join again.
Yeah, I asked him to rejoin. Avidan?
Hi, Avidan. Can you say something? We can't hear you.
Recording in progress. You hear me?
Avidan? Yeah, now we can hear you.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Clarissa, can you hear him?
Yeah, I could hear him then, but now he's not saying anything. Avidan, can you please try talking again? Because at times what is happening is that I can hear you in the beginning and then your voice kind of tapers off. So if you say something, I think
Okay. Sorry.
we'll be able to figure it out again.
Okay, now I hear you well. I think the earphones was disconnected.
Okay. So I think this is fine. I can hear you now. Maybe we can have that particular question again. Like I can ask you the question and you can answer the question about selective aspect of your features again. Would that be okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Sorry, what the question about the
Sure,
selective feature, right?
I'll ask you again. Yeah, I'll ask you again,
Okay.
and we can just we can edit all of this out. Okay, so DOP score value is selective transparency. This is something that has been mentioned in many places. In the research that we did, you've also mentioned it. Can you explain how this actually works and why this matters in the Web3 ecosystem for today? I would love for you to explain this in a simple manner so that the users are able to actually get an insight into this particular feature of yours. You have partially answered this when you were talking about the USP, but I want you to specifically perhaps now talk about this and shed more light on selective transparency.
Yeah, I will split it into two parts. One is the user's part, very simple. Once you're in the protocol and you encrypt funds, it's big main bit was 2 or 3 clicks. You're going into your settings and clicking select to hide or expose your data. You are clicking how much you want and which asset, and you are clicking proof. It's been 2 clicks to use the selective transparency feature, and then you can see it in our Explorer, in DOP Explorer. If you hide it, you cannot see it, but if you choose to show to the people around you what you have, so you will see it in the Explorer. And how it being made with the by in the backend with technology. So DOP protocol is is structured around zk proof with zk snark library. And once you're clicking the proof, the zk is coming into play and get it done to the judgment that you are proving if you want to hide it or show it and changing the state in the protocol. So it's very fast and using the zk technology to do it and give the users the simplicity and the fast recognition if you try to hide or show your asset. This is what Selective is doing. It's very simple, very technology, and very fast to do.
So it's exactly like the name. Basically, you can make your data selectively transparent or opaque however you want it. And that is the core competency and the USP for you guys. Am I right?
Exactly. We want to give the users the ability to choose and select what you want to do with his data on chain. If you want to share it with people, they can do it as well. If you want to hide it, go ahead. We want to give it the ability to choose what to do, and not like in Ethereum that every transaction and assets can be seen on Explorer.
That makes sense. That's wonderful. So how do you perhaps balance the... So before I ask you this, I would love to understand from you, who would you consider as your competitor in this space?
So we have few competitors. The most famous one is Railgun. They have a nice and good protocol also for privacy. Maybe you can hear about it since a lot of hackers are trying to use it. We have also small competitors, but we're not really compete with them since we have other feature that we're trying to bring to the table other than them.
Okay. I think I asked this competitor question so that, our listeners can get a better insight into how or which label you're putting yourself, putting on your product or your team and the offering itself. So that question kind of helps with that context. Now, can you tell me how do you balance the ideals of decentralization with the need for privacy and regulatory compliance? Because I know that this can be a hard line to toe. How do you guys do it? What is your take on it?
So our vision is that decentralized is the center of the protocol and need to be like that. And to make it with compliance is not to store save data from users. It's only for detect bad players and reject them from the protocol. So it's being made in a decentralized way like that.
When you say, you can check for bad players, what do you exactly mean by that?
Okay, so Chainalysis and Exagate are helping us in compliance layers in a way that an address that want to connect the protocol is moving through the both of those projects. Every project, Chainalysis and Exagate are detecting their address, checking in their storage of data if it's a bad player. Let's say Chainalysis are doing it off-chain with all the addresses that are being detected and tagged in the industry as bad players. And if so, they reject it. Exagate are not using databases. They're using only on-chain. That means they are merging part of their own chain of the last few weeks, months, with the addresses that try to hack protocols in this second. And also them, if they are detecting that it's tagged as an hacker or something like that, or mixer or laundry funds, it's been rejected from the protocol.
Okay. And you mentioned a third-party partner is helping you figure this out. Is that correct?
Sorry, again?
You mentioned that there is a third-party partner that is helping you figure out whether this transaction is suspect.
Chainalysis and Exagate.
Chainalysis is doing it, and Nexagate. Okay, all right. So these are very big partnerships that you've mentioned. So this is wonderful. Can you perhaps share a practical example of how this has happened, perhaps in real life, or how a user or business might use selective transparency, and that has happened right in front of you?
So when a user try to connect the protocol, in the front, he is moving through a process to wait and pass the door of Chainalysis. It's a fast detection that's being made very fast. And then you need to wait, let's say, 20, 30 seconds while Hexagate is checking live if your wallet is detected as a bad player. You as the users don't see anything and don't need to do anything.
Right. So this particular like this protocol, I would imagine that this would be more popular with users than businesses. Is that correct? Like, do you see more users sign up to be utilizing your protocol, or do you see businesses as potential clients as well?
So both of them, because we want to make the ability to bring all of them to the protocol, and being a big community that's using this sort of vision of half privacy, half selecting how to show their data.
Okay, interesting. How does DOP integrate zero knowledge proofs, and what are your thoughts on their future in privacy tech?
So we are using, I said it before, we are using zk Snark library to do the proofs in the protocol and the secrets to make the proof inside of them of every state that is being made. Let's say I encrypt, send, decrypt. So the protocol state is being changed, and the proofs are being made with the zk Snark library in zk technology.
Okay, and what is the kind of role that oracles have perhaps in this entire architecture that you have created for DOP?
So Oracle, like other products that we're creating, will use or are using already the protocol or wallets or encryption features or NFTs to make the protocol more utilitized. This means every product have its own task and its own mission, but the technology that they have based on DOP protocol.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a very interesting take on it. I would think that oracles now, because everybody is like sort of moving forward. How do you perhaps see DOP's capacity to expand beyond Ethereum? What considerations are driving in cross-chain compatibility? Are you looking to do something like that? Are you looking to move to other chains, maybe non-EVM compatible or just EVM compatible? Can you tell me a little
Well,
about that?
yeah. What we're doing is to bring those abilities to the big networks where people want to use this vision. So Ethereum at the beginning really hugged this vision and utilized Railgun, and Vitalik tweeted about it, and CZ also tweeted about DOP. People want this. So in every blockchain that will want this ability, we will do the integration. And this is why we're now moving forward to other 2L2s around EVMs. And we will also add in the futures EVM compatible or non-EVM compatible that will do the job to integrate it as well.
Excellent, excellent. I think that is very important because there are a lot of people who move away from Ethereum, not in a permanent way, but that they are exploring other chains, and it's good that you are looking for cross-chain compatibility as well. Can you tell us a little about perhaps the response that the regulators have been having to your approach vis-a-vis privacy? Have you faced any regulatory hurdles? Are you facing any resistance from that particular aspect of business?
So since the protocol is in process to be 100% decentralized, we are not getting into it by question and stuff like that, since by the US and also other regulatory countries are stating that decentralized protocols and projects are less in the game of the regulatory aspect focus to be in charge of things that are being through the protocol. But I can say that with all the process that the US are doing to the crypto field around regulatory, of course, that it's helped bring people to use it and be less afraid to talk about privacy and how it need to be used.
Okay, that's interesting. What are the kind of sectors that you've seen as early adopters for DOP's model? Is there any particular niche or sector that
So
is showing more
I
interest in
think
it?
the first adopters will be Web3 company that have big amounts of payment that they want to use and send through the ecosystem without people detecting every transaction. And when I'm saying someone is not, of course, regulatory, it's people that are playing with them in the industry. If I'm a new project and I want to create a big event, I don't want people to know when and where and who will help. So this is, I will use DOP for that. If I want to pay salaries and wages for my employees, so I will do it through the protocols like that. No one can know how much X or Y or Z get by salary. And have a lot of use cases that people already are using, and those are the first adopters. We also will have the second part of adopter that I believe there will be around our RWA with NFTs. Since now, once I bought an NFT that are used to be something that represent an RWA, and I'm bringing in the DOP and no one know who is the owner or something like that, helping me with the privacy and anonymous that we are looking for.
Okay. So my next question, actually, why I asked you this was my next question is about how DOP fits into the broader digital rights movement. So let me formulate my question this way. How do you perhaps envision the intersection of AI and privacy tech evolving over the next 5 years? Because there is a lot of talk and movement that is happening, growth that is happening with AI. I'm sure that it's going to have an impact here as well. How do you perceive it?
So we already started to build an AI agents trader that we want to bring in the protocol if we're talking about AI. So we don't want someone to detect the AI agent that I bought and I'm training him and filling him with money and funds and looking at my portfolio, my vision, and to do copy trading to my agent. So the protocol will be the best way to use it. So no one will know who is using it and how is using it. And this is why AI agent traders will be great and success in the protocol more than outside.
Okay, so you're building on something like this?
We're trying to build something like that. Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's wonderful. Can you tell me if you are seeing more demand from Web3 native teams or traditional enterprises when it comes to the solution that you have at hand?
Sorry again?
Are you seeing more demand from Web3 native teams or traditional enterprises when it comes to DOP? Who's more? Who are you getting more requests from?
More
Who is more
Web3
comfortable?
companies, but early people that come from the traditional finance also are coming through that and asking a lot of questions and what they can do with that. But yes, it's more natural and native to Web3 company to use it and come to do encryption to their payments and etc.
All right. Okay. So we would all imagine it's mostly Web3 companies and native teams that are adopting to DOP. Excellent. What does success look like for you guys, say by 2030, in the next 5 years? How would you define that success? What are the kind of tangible goals you guys would have achieved by then?
Decentralized protocol that brings and brought a lot of users from B2B and B2C to use it daily for all the transaction and holding of assets and NFT. We're looking to bigger numbers in the volume and TVL, of course.
Okay. Okay. Now, so we've talked a lot about DOP. We've talked about your journey in this space, and we are also kind of running out of time. I have this particular segment, which is usually the last segment, where there are quick takes. If you could answer these questions in one word or one sentence, that would be wonderful. So the first one here that I have is one Web3 myth that you wish people would stop repeating.
It's a hard question, but I think people need to split the words or worlds of Web 2 and Web 3 and start using Web 3 as Web 3. Let's say privacy was a bad word to say 2-3 years ago. And today we're seeing the change in the environment of the crypto field and the industry and how it's being used. And when we started at the beginning to talk about DOP, people said, oh, it's privacy. I'm not sure I'll use it. And today, when the environment is different, so people are using it. And what I'm trying to say is Web3, it's another world. Look at it as a decentralized way. Privacy is good, decentralized is better, and we have a lot of features like that in the crypto field that we need to learn how to hug and use it like that.
Makes sense. I think that's a interesting way of putting things. It can be frustrating when people try to draw parallels with everything Web3 as against Web2. So I get your perspective there. So
what I can add about that is that at Web3 we're talking about owning funds and data, and this is what DOP trying to say: own your data, own your funds in privacy way.
Yeah, choose what you can perhaps share, and what you want to share, what you want to keep private. You can keep that private.
Since it's decentralized, it's your ownership to do with that whatever you want.
Right. Yeah, you own your data, so you know you have the prerogative to do whatever you want with that data. So I get that. I get it. So can you tell me a little about a non-crypto use case that inspires your thinking around privacy?
Yes, we have heritage. We have a lot of new projects that we're thinking about for people outside of the Web3.
Hmm.
What I said is one of them. Let's say I want to tell my kids in 50 years what they need to do after I pass away, so I can encrypt an NFT in an address and give it to my lawyer or something like that, or I don't know where. And when we will see it, they will see whatever I want for them and give them. And in a privacy way, no one will know what they have in this NFT until they will open it.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of use cases like that that we don't want people to see what you decide, what you thought of, until you give them the ability to own this data.
Right. Okay, so because you said data ownership, in one sentence, what does data ownership mean to you?
Something that it's must when you are looking about the AI field.
Hmm.
The data on chain and the data that we're using on Web3 is very relevant to own it and be able to use it how we want to do. We have a lot of use cases from Web2 on-chain data and useful data that people are sharing our data without asking our permission.
Hmm.
And when we're talking about ownership of data, this is what I'm saying. This is my vision. Everyone needs to control his own data, if it's useful data from Web2 or of course, economic and financial data that we're using every day.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I think having prerogative over what you do with that data, I think that is what ownership means, at least according to me. Can you perhaps name a founder or a project in Web3 that you deeply admire?
Sorry again.
Can you name a founder or a project in Web3 that you deeply admire?
It will be Satoshi or Jonathan Sampolinsky. Both of them had two projects
Hmm.
that are 100% decentralized. It's Bitcoin and Kaspa. I didn't see something that came from decentralized, stay decentralized. At DOP, we came as centralized project and we're going to 100% decentralized, but it's a process to do. And it's very interesting and fascinating to see projects that come from day one as decentralized project and stayed like that.
I get that. Yeah, I think that is very important, and that is not something that you see a lot nowadays in the space. That a project is truly decentralized, and
Mhm.
or it at least stays the path and stays decentralized. I think one thing or the other is incorrect in their journey, and at times people are trying to solve it. People try to be decentralized, but then they are not decentralized from day one, and that can often be a failing at their end. So I can understand what you mean there. Can you perhaps tell us a book or a resource that you might want to recommend to anybody who might be building in privacy tech?
Ooh, so for today, I'm using LLMs to learn and understand and do researches about how we can use those platforms.
Hmm.
And with that being said, I'm saying it's not 100% a fact. So you need to open academics papers to learn exactly what need to do and how to do it. So I believe I will recommend about the merge of academic papers and LLMs that are giving you some sort of vision to think about and learn from that.
I think I do concur with you there. I think the best resource is going back to the academic papers to understand the very foundations. But at times, I do feel that they are a little out of reach for everybody because not everybody feels comfortable reading those academic papers. But they are nevertheless the best source or resource if you are building in this space. You will have to learn perhaps how to read them and get their gist.
Yeah, good. I can agree with you.
So, can
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sorry. No, no.
Can you tell me a little about the community that you've built so far around DOP?
Ziv, you want to answer it? It's about community.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can answer. Mostly, I would say that the one who built the community was the previous one in this role, Hila.
Hmm.
But we had tremendous success, mostly in our testnet campaign. I think it's really there's so many reasons who made this big success. First of all, the promise that DOP brings, right? The promise of privacy and selective transparency to all is something that is a big pain point for a lot of crypto users.
Hmm.
So this promise and this mission is what what enabled us to gather this amazing community around this project. And it's kind of like the FOMO effect, right? People see that the more people join, and they feel like there's something strong here, and everyone is on a momentum. And once it starts, it's very, very hard to stop it. We also made sure to run multiple marketing campaigns and quests to entertain the community, to teach the community more about privacy, about DLP, about zk proofs. We had a huge testnet campaign where over 2 million people have participated. So we were able to both win from the importance of this mission. We were able to win such a great community. And given the fact that we were able to continue creating momentum, the community has grown larger and larger, over 1.4 million followers, I think, at the peak. And now we're working on bringing it to its glory days, bringing it back to its glory days.
Right. I think what you said and what kind of stood out for me in the answer was how, you have tried to build on the momentum that you had initially built from your testnet days, by keeping the community, entertained as well as sharing stuff that would educate them. I think that becomes very important whenever you are trying to create a sustainable community without doing too many airdrops, perhaps, because that is a good way to create like a sustainable community, a community of fans who would have your back, alongside whenever there is a new feature launch, and all of that other shebang. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
of course, I agree. So these quests that I was talking about and these marketing campaigns were usually accompanied by, you can call it airdrops, you can call it bounties or rewards,
Hmm.
to incentivize participation. And
Right.
we always try to put the emphasis on not to bring just, there's large communities of airdrop hunters and bounty hunters, and when planning these campaigns, we always try to put our community in mind so that these campaigns will talk to them. Obviously, we're trying to always create and attract more and new community members, but still, it's important for us that our quests would be educational for our community, that they would bring value to them, and on the way, they can also earn, a buck or two.
Right. Wonderful. Is there any big a marketing plan or any kind of a community-driven plan that is coming up in the future that you want to talk about?
I can't share too much just yet. I can say that
Okay.
we have a lot of launches coming very, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
The community is looking forward to very much, that I know. Do you know to tell me perhaps is this episode going to be released approximately?
Probably in the next 2 weeks, I think. Yeah.
Next 2 weeks, yeah. So all I can say right now is that perhaps our community should start thinking about the number 5. That's what I can say right now.
All right. Okay. That's quite a hint.
Let's keep it mysterious.
Yeah. Yeah, you did keep it mysterious. But okay, awesome. And are there any recommendations from you, like in terms of resources or books or people to listen to for somebody who is perhaps doing marketing in privacy tech or in Web3 in general? Is there anything that you would like to recommend?
For marketing, there's a lot of great podcasts that you can listen to. There's one that I listen to. It's called Marketing Against the Grain by Kieran and forgot the name of the other guy, the CMO of HubSpot,
Hmm.
and Zapier, if I remember correctly.
Right.
They give a lot of great tips about marketing, about AI, and it's something that I really like to hear.
Okay.
Actually, my ride to work these days is a lot shorter than it was in the past, so I listen to
Okay.
fewer podcasts that I used to.
Right.
But there are great marketing podcasts out there. If you're looking for, Bitcoin or crypto podcasts, I really like TFTC, Tales from the Crypt. It's mostly about Bitcoin, but to each his color. And yeah, I mean, there's so many podcasts. If I start going over my list, it won't over. So it won't be over. So I wouldn't want to take all your time.
Sure. So keep a lookout on the podcast. They have some really good, interesting material coming out from there, and you can learn from there when you are perhaps looking to pick up some new skills in marketing and while building in this space. So I think that is a good recommendation from Ziv, and you can do some research on your own, dear listeners. You can go out and look out for marketing podcasts, tech associated podcasts, and you would have quite a resourceful perhaps commute if that is how you listen to it, and you can pick up skills. So Ziv, if you can, perhaps I would love for you to share some of the names, and I can perhaps put it in the description so that our listeners are not going too much on a treasure hunt, and they can check out the podcast that you listen to as well.
Sure. I'll send you the links if that would be easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put it in the description. Okay, awesome. So this has been great, guys. I think I absolutely loved trying to understand what you guys are building and how you're going about building it. What is the future plan? But there is this one question that I ask everybody who comes on the show, and Avidan, I would love to understand from you what will be your suggestions for somebody who is perhaps still sitting on the fence about Web3 in general, because you have worked across many niches, and you worked in tech, and you worked in AI, you worked in MedTech, and now you're working in Web3. Would you have any kind of suggestions for these people who are still sitting on the fence about Web3 so that they can truly start living on blockchain? And if yes, then what will these suggestions be?
So I think that Web3 will come into our world more and more, and will take more from our regular space, since it's being made step by step by regulatory and usability and simplicity. And once all of it will merge to one piece, we will enjoy it and use it for daily transaction or daily payment, daily storage of NFTs. That will use as RWA. We'll use AI agent through a blockchain that are being made by proof of the block on the blockchain, and more tools and DApps that will give us the ability to really use them in our daily routine.
So you feel because it's going to be a part of, it'll be so ingrained in our daily routine, then everybody should perhaps at least give it a go, try it, and try to make an attempt to understand it, because this was going to become a very large part of our lives in the future.
Sorry, didn't hear the last sentence.
Because Web3 is going to become so big and become a part of our lives in the future, of our day-to-day lives, you feel that people owe it to themselves to learn more about it and to understand it.
Yeah, what I feel in my family and friend, that people are learning more and more about this field and industry, and part of them, of course, step by step are getting into it and using it in a lot of ways. So you can see the huge process that the world is doing around it.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Avidan and Ziv, both of you, for making the time to speak to me today. This has been a wonderful conversation. I had a lot of fun understanding what DOP is up to and what you guys have been up to. So thank you once again for making the time to speak to me. Any parting words before we wrap this up?
Thank you very much. Ziv, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to also thank you to Russia for giving us this opportunity to present DOP to you, to your audience. We're looking forward to hearing from the community. And if you guys have any other questions, we invite you to join our X, follow us on X, or not but also join our Telegram community and announcement channel, and we have a Discord server for you guys. So there's plenty of places where you can come talk to us. We're always happy to talk to our community. We know that their questions are the most relevant because they direct our way forward, and we thank them for sticking with us in this journey. And really, thank you, Terusha, for having us here.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much, guys.